Morning, everyone. So this is the web development track. I hope everyone had a great social event last night and everyone is ready for some more. And yeah, as someone who has had their fair struggles with like the Stripe API, front-end integration so far, I'm quite excited for this one. Santosh, take it away.
Thank you, Max. Uh, Before I begin, I want to ask some questions. I mean, it takes great effort to come here early in the morning at 8:30. I know the pain. So let me ask some questions. How many of you create content on the internet? I mean, how many of you write blog posts, or how many of you create videos, audios, and post it on the internet? No one? One? And how many of you make money for your content? How many of you want to make money for your content on the internet? No one wants to make money from the internet? And how many of you think it is easy to send money between each other? And how many of you think it is easy to send money from one country to another country? No. So let's talk about web monetization now. So today I'll be talking about web monetization, a new JavaScript standard that will help you to monetize your web content. For example, it might be your blog post, it might be your video, audio, anything that you put out on the internet. I'll talk about how you can monetize it. So coming to me, I'm Santosh. I'm an ambassador at the Interledger Foundation. I contribute to Interledger projects. Interledger is a non-profit organization and an open source organization. So I contribute to their projects, and I also help contributors to get involved with Interledger. And previously have been involved with Mozilla. If you have heard about the Firefox browser, I have been involved with them for over 10 years, and anything that I learn as a part of web development, I go to conferences and teach about them. And so this is what we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about the current ways that we can monetize our content and the challenges involved with it and the pain points involved with it. And we'll talk about if there are any possible solutions, and we'll dig deep into like when is it all going to be real, the solutions, and what we could do now as web developers. So first, let's talk about how we can monetize our content right now, and what are the challenges involved with it. The first thing is advertisements. If you have a blog post or if you have a website, one way to make money for your content is through advertisements, and they are at the core of making money for a lot of organizations. Even big organizations like Google depend on ads for most of the revenue, but it also comes with the challenges. For example, and like 5 years back or 10 years back, if I want to download any music, I have to go to a website, and then I'll find all these download buttons, and you have to find the right download button to download your song. This is pretty hard because these platforms heavily rely on ads to make money. And one of the challenges, like, it is completely intrusive. People are worried that these companies will steal data and then use it for targeting advertisements, and they also spoil the experience of the user who wants to visit your website. They will divert the user from the original content that they came to the website for. And the second way that the people could make money is through subscriptions. This is a direct way where a consumer will pay the platform and the platform will make money out of it. But this also has challenges. For example, if there is a platform where I liked only one content, one article, and I want to pay for that single article, it's not possible. I have to pay for the subscription. And when you have a lot of subscriptions, it becomes hard to manage your subscriptions as well. You will have one for video, you will have one subscription for audio, you have a couple of subscription for news websites, and this leads to something called as subscription fatigue, and it becomes hard to maintain those subscriptions. And the other way you could make money is through sponsored content, and this also has some challenges. Like you'll be able to post sponsored content, and you will get opportunities when you become famous and you have a good large base of users who follow you. So it is limited to only the top few percent of the content creators. And also this leads to question the integrity of the creator. This is usually people think twice before like using any sponsored content for making money. And the other way is referral and affiliate links. If you are a content creator and if you post your content on YouTube or any of the social media channels, you'll post an affiliate link, and people who go from your affiliate link and then purchase the product, if someone does that, you will get some money out of it. So these are all some of the ways you can make money. At the same time, like there are other ways, but these are some of the ways that I wanted to put forward today. And then let's talk about some of the pain points in making money on the internet. So one is geographical locations and some other related parameters. So this is from Medium. Uh, I heard like I saw that Medium is blogged in Vietnam, but it is one of the largest content platforms on the internet, where people can like sign up as an author and write posts and publish them. So I'm from India. I can write post on medium.com, and I can buy a subscription of medium.com to read other people's articles. But at the same time, I won't be able to make any money from my content, because India is not one of the 40 to 50 countries where people can monetize their content. So it seems unfair that I can create content and I can also buy a subscription, but I cannot make money from my subscription. So that is one of the pain point that I saw in the current content platforms. And then you will have intermediaries and platforms which take a huge cut of money that you are going to make. And also the payments are also not instant. For example, if someone is reading your article or watching your content, you won't get paid instantly. It takes some weeks, maybe months to get your content. And also there are other parameters, such as you should have a minimum of 200 to 300 minimum subscribers for your channel or something like that to make money from the intermediaries. And also the current payment solutions are also one of the things to blame. They don't have micropayment support. For example, if I liked an article and I want to donate like 10 cents to read that particular article, it is not possible right now to donate or like pay the 10 seconds amount and then read the article. And also anything that we do on the internet is easy. It's easy at this point of time to access anything and to create, build, deploy, and do anything and to consume any content all around the world. But when it comes to money, it is not easy. You can send an email, you can send a message, you can share a picture, you can share a video. But if you start sending money over the internet, it becomes very hard. They have to deal with regulations, and the payment systems are not interoperable. There are a lot of challenges with that. And if you want to buy a service, you first have to again enter your card details, and then set up your wallet and then make a payment. And this leads to this cumbersome process leads people, I mean, makes it hard for people to sign up for services on the internet. And how could we solve this? Now we talked about challenges, we talked about pain points. Let's talk about if there is a way to solve this. Introducing web monetization. At Interledger, our vision is to make sending payments as easy as sending an email. You might be using Gmail and someone might be using Yahoo Mail, someone might be using Outlook. And you can still send emails from one client to other client because they are all built on a single protocol in the end, SMTP protocol, Simple Message Transfer Protocol. So Interledger wants to create a protocol called as, it has a protocol called as Interledger protocol. And if any of the wallets and payment systems have adopted this ILP protocol, it is easy to send money from one wallet to other wallet or one payment system to other payment system. And web monetization is a JavaScript API where I, as a user, can send money to the website owner directly right from the browser itself. So the core concept of web monetization is, if you are a user, you had your wallet address on your website, If I'm as a user visited your website, I can make money. I can pay you for reading your content. So the more time that I spent on your website, the more money I can stream to your particular website. And there are also some challenges. There are challenges such as you have to be live. I mean, you should have a internet when you are reading the content. Otherwise, even though I'm reading the content, you might not get paid as a content creator. And some other challenges also include, I mean, if there is a way for people to monetize their content other than like depending on the large platforms, they might block it in future. So that's one more challenge. And also sometimes you might have some money in your wallet that you wanted to donate to content creators, but since you're not using those content or watching those content anymore, your money becomes, I mean, your money will still be in the wallet and you won't be able to make any payments. And web monetization, the standard has 3 requirements. One is the wallet, extension, and authorization. So the first thing is wallet. Wallet is like your bank account, and it has an account number called as wallet address. You should have a wallet address, and also you as a content creator should have a wallet address. You as a website developer should have a wallet address, and I as a user should have a wallet address. So when when I open your website, the money will be transferred from my wallet address to your wallet address at the time. And the wallet is the most complicated part because it deals with money, and also it has to adhere to the regulations that are in a particular country. And the second one is extension. So this extension, you will install it on the browser. If you have used, I mean, if you want to know more about extension, I mean, if you have heard about Grammarly or some other extension that we have on the browser, so those small icons are called the browser extensions, and you will install a web monetization provider extension on your laptop, on your browser. And then you will provide an authorization. Authorization is like you will add your wallet address. I as a user will add my wallet address to my extension, and I validate it for a certain payment, maybe say $1 or $2 every month, and then I authorize for the particular payment. And there is a fourth requirement, which is the wallet address I was telling about. So in this, the wallet address, you as a web developer will add this wallet address to your website. So how can web developers monetize their websites? So let's talk a little about the tech part. So you will add a wallet address to your site. Like I said, you will generate a wallet address and then add it to your site. So this is how you add it to the head of your web page. The link tag you have seen. I mean, how many of you are web developers here? Few. Yes. So this link tag, you will generally use it for adding CSS to a web page. And a similar way, you can use the same link tag with the rel equal to monetization, and you will provide a wallet address to that particular link tag. And you will add this to the head of the web page. And you can also listen to the monetization events. Like if someone, if I'm paying you and I'll be streaming money, like for every 1 second or 2 seconds or a couple of seconds, I'll be streaming you money. And you as a web developer can listen to the monetization events. You will get to see the value, currency, and some other parameters as well, which will help you to validate the payment. And so imagine now you have a blog post which heavily depends on ads. You can provide an exclusive experience for users who are like web monetized. For example, if a general user visits your website, you can still serve them ads. But since I'm web monetized user and I'm paying you when I'm watching content on your website, you can remove ads for my experience. So this will improve on my experience, and you will also get paid for your content. And we talked about standard challenges and everything. Like now, let's talk about when is it all going to be real. So let's talk about the component. The first thing, the extension. You can scan this QR, which will take you to the project. It is under development right now, and we could have a live working extension anytime soon. You can go to the repository and start the repository. And if you want to contribute to the extension as well, this is an open source project. So you can get involved with it. You can find open issues, contribute to it, and you can help us test the extension. All this could be done as volunteers. So you can just scan the QR code and start the repository for to follow the project. And the ILP enabled wallets, there might, we might have some financial services soon by the end of this year. There are a good number of finance companies that are started to adopt the ILP protocol. So we might have ILP enabled wallets soon. So for the entire world, eventually, we hope to have the ILP enabled wallet. So we as website developers can monetize our websites, and also as users we can support the creators and support the websites that we love and use every day. And so this is a sample. So this is a website which is web monetized, and you can go to the code. In the head you'll find the link tag with monetization along with the wallet address, and this is the extension I am talking about. This has a public key. You will use this public key to validate your wallet, to authorize your wallet. So you will add the public key here. You will name it, and the key that you copied on the extension, you will add it here. And now it is added. And we're checking the payments, like the last payments, which is like $0.6. You're going again to the web monetized site. And then here you are adding your wallet address. So this is a user wallet address. User has added a wallet address and $5, and he's connecting the extension. So $5 from this particular wallet address will be streamed to the payments throughout the month. Now now you can see some more monetization events along with US dollars and the asset scale and some more information related to the particular monetization event. This means someone who is using the extension is paying the particular website. And you can check here the transactions. So there is $0.32 of pending outgoing payment, which means the user who has that extension has an outgoing payment of $0.32, and the website creator who has added his wallet address is getting that $0.32. So this is how the entire web monetization extension and the flow works. And some of the advantages of this are, imagine you have a website and your wallet address is configured to your local currency. For me, Indian rupees, and for you, Vietnamese dollars. And if someone from the United States is consuming your content, then he might be paying in US dollars. So the cross-border transactions become easy through the ILP protocol and with this web monetization standard. So where you can get paid for your content from any country the people are using your website from. And I was talking about the extension. I spoke about the challenges and everything. Now let's talk about what we can do now. We don't have the wallet yet. So what we can do now until we get a wallet and until we, so the web monetization standard is also in a draft state. And there are a lot of ways that we could get involved with the standard. So this is what you could do. Like now, whenever you have a new JavaScript API, there will be libraries that are built for different frameworks and different, what do you call it, content platforms out there. So one thing you could do is you could build plugins for different frameworks. It might be React, it might be CMS platforms, or it might be frameworks such as Astro. So you can build the plugins for those libraries. And also, if there are a lot of plugins already built, so you can also contribute to those plugins. That is one way you could get involved with the web monetization development. And then you can join the web monetization channel on the Interledger community Slack. So this will keep you posted of all the updates that are happening with web monetization. And it also helps you to get involved with the web monetization community. And when we have the standard out and when we have the wallet systems out, you would be the first person to get paid for your websites. And also join the community calls. This would provide a direct opportunity for you to get involved with the web monetization working group, where you can provide, where you can share your thoughts, where you can get involved with building the standard, as well as building the technology behind it, like the extension or the plugins or anything. You are welcome to join the web monetization community call, and continue to get involved with that. That's it. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? No? Yes, one.
First of all, I want to thank you because of your really inspiring speech, and you helped me a lot to broaden my horizon about how I can monetize my websites. So recently, I'm having an intentions to build a website to contain a lot of documents for my university students and because I know that they are just students and they do not have much money to pay for my documents that I provide them. So I'm thinking that I will provide it free. So can I have any way to like monetize my website, not including like using the I mean, I don't want them to pay for my documents a lot. Uh, yeah, I just want to know about how can I monetize my website, except from taking money from the students.
Good question. So, without people getting paid, then you have to rely on other ways that you can monetize your content with ads, intrusive ads, targeted ads. So that is a way if you're looking for a way to monetize your content without using the web monetization standard. But with web monetization standard, it becomes, I mean, you can directly make money from it, and it is also not a huge amount. So for example, I was talking about micro payments, like sending small payments, like one VND, two VND. That is something even students can afford it, and they can enjoy a rich experience for your content because you have spent a lot of amount of time. So it is easy for them also to spend the money, and also it is easy for you to maintain your website with the funds that you receive. But other ways, like you can follow the general ways that are out there to monetize your website. Yeah.
All right. We got time for one more question. Okay, really? I got one more question. How is the cross-browser platform support going? Because, you know, I love Firefox. I use it every day, but I know some of my friends use Chrome, unfortunately. And yeah, I was just wondering, is it still like a standard in the making?
Yes. So currently, until it becomes an actual standard that has to be added to the like browser, the entire code to add this is a polyfill, which is in the extension itself. So it is a cross browser extension, and the one which the demo which I was showing you is on Chrome browser itself. It works on Chrome. So the entire code that is needed to be implemented in the web monetization is right now on that extension, and it will be published into the Chrome web store. And eventually it will be a cross-platform extension, which means you can download on Firefox and you can download on Edge and anything that is built on the web extension APIs.
Thank you so much. One last round of applause. Thank you, Santosh.
Hello everyone. My name is Dheeraj, and thanks for coming out this early morning for my talk. Really appreciate it, and I'm really happy that we are doing this. And thanks for all the organizers for lovely conference. I'm having a very nice uh, time here in Vietnam. This is my first time as well. Yeah. So before we get started, I would like to know how many of you write code. Oh, nice. Most of the one. And how many of you think about writing secure code or uh, there we go. There we go. Everyone wants to write secure code, right? And nobody wants to get hacked, right? So So this is all the talk is about. We're going to be talking about web security, specifically front-end specific attacks, web vulnerabilities, and how to actually protect your website or web application from these type of attacks. Uh, Before we get started, a little introduction about me. My name is Dheeraj, and I have been working with GitLab for last 4 years. I'm in the part of secure team as a front-end engineer, and we build security products within GitLab, which are being integrated to GitLab product. And I also like to play ping pong, and I can play with both of my hands and switching in between. I like that. That's fun. And I also like to poke around the web applications I use on everyday basis for swags, stickers, and who doesn't like free stuff, right? Uh, and then this little pop-up at the bottom makes me really happy. Does anyone know what it is about? Has anyone seen this little pop-up? It's like mere JavaScript alert, and we're going to be talking more about it. But these are the companies where I have been sending a lot of reports, security bugs, and to get some free swag, like I mentioned, and just to make uh, the web more secure. Anybody can do it. Every company has their own security guidelines, how to report bugs, and you could always go to their website and check out their security bug bounty programs or any contribution website where you can build and help them write um, better software and help them secure their website or applications. And uh, so this agenda is very simple. We're going to be talking about XSX, cross-site scripting, and content security policy, and some of the initiatives we have taken at GitLab to make sure our application is free from these security bugs. And then if you have any questions, I can take them after this talk, or I'll be around the entire day. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. Uh, so yeah, first and foremost, security is important. Like it's like an elephant in the room when everyone agrees that's important, but only a few take it very seriously. Um, so it's like some of the companies think that they are doing so good, but they don't know they have been hacked. Or there's a famous quote where some of the companies don't know if they have been hacked or they are yet to be hacked. Um, and then it's like speeding on a highway. You get incredibly fast, and then you get fined, and then you start driving slow. So is about once your app is compromised, you lose your users, you lose the trust in your applications and the users, and so that's why it's very important to make sure these things are being uh, thought before building the application or while building the application, not afterward. And one of the misconceptions I've seen among uh, us, the developers and the company stakeholders, that security is only on the back end. But I'm going to talk about security stuff related to front end as well is important. And little story time. Um, so this particular instance where there was an issue with McDonald's website. Everybody knows what is McDonald's, and we always eat it from there. But they also have a website where user can place an order online, and for that you have to create an account. And what the particular person did was there was a vulnerability using the AngularJS bypass, where the AngularJS sandbox bypass, where whatever the password you set on the website, it will be stored on the browser itself. And if you visit a malicious website, they will be able to fetch that password and send it to them for malicious intent, right? So this particular instance had multiple issues identified, and then put them all together to achieve this. So also there have been a lot many instances with WordPress. Everyone have might have heard about WordPress. It's a popular blogging platform, and people build their websites out of it. And so it has very much being used and abused because of they have features like extensions. Anybody can write an extension for WordPress and publish them. And uh, there have been a lot of instances like people write malicious extension and publish it, and then it gets through, and when you install an extension, it tries to act as a keylogger and just fetch all your users' um passwords, credentials, and take them to the malicious websites or with attackers. Um, anybody knows what this particular application is? You might have seen it, ChatGPT. There was a particular similar bug in ChatGPT as well when somebody reported on Twitter, and they were able to fix it in no time because its popularity. Where somebody just write a JavaScript code and it gets executed on ChatGPT answer. So we have been talking about this, but let's talk what reality is. What is XSX? So it's called cross-site scripting. Its basic funda is when your data becomes code. In this particular example, you can see that there's an image tag with a source which is invalid, like X doesn't exist, right? And if it doesn't exist, then it will try to load an on-error attribute. The on-error attribute now has a prompt function, and which will just prompt one, and prompt one will make sure that it just prompt alert like this. This particular alert is from a website called Uber. It's very similar to what we use at Grab. So that's what one of the issue I reported to Uber when I changed my name to this little code. And when an Uber admin tries to delete the user, they get this small alert. So it's more than an alert or pop-up or a prompt. It just can attack users. It can steal or hijackers or web session. It can actually record your movements or record your interaction with the website, or it can fetch all the data you try to enter on the website or the application. There are a few types of XSX categorically. One is reflected XSX, which works like an attacker sends you a malicious link, or like who doesn't like free stuff, or hey, click on this link to get free pictures of cats, dogs, or free promotions like that. And when the user clicks that link, and it executes certain code on the website, and the browser sends the private data, like we saw in the case of McDonald's. Like the McDonald's used to store the data on the website, and those data will be sent to the attacker. And here's another type of XSX, DOM XSX, where this particular code, can somebody point out what's wrong with this code and what specifically, which part of the code is actually causing the bad thing here? Yeah, that's right. So it's like a part of that. You put a query name, and with the name you try to check out the document.url. You take the URL as is, and then when you write it, the most bad code here is documented write without actually doing any validations, and just getting the query parameter from the URL and just putting in the DOM, which may lead to an XSX. So our entire aim here is to make sure that we don't lead these type of bugs into any of the applications we build or use. So if you are a coder, then you can try to analyze places where DOM elements are created, and avoid functions like inner HTML or similar functions in all the front-end frameworks. I'm going to talk about that in later slides. And one of the way is add a linter rule, like ESLint, to make sure these functions are not being used by you or any other developer using the project. And there's a famous saying like, sanitize your input, encode your output, which will solve the issue for you. But it's hard, not that simple. So are we gonna be taking that look step by step? There's something called flag called secured and HTTP only flag, where you can make sure the session cookies you have. Session cookies might have some sensitive information, which is like very identical to the particular web session. So the secure flag will make sure these cookies are not being sent on HTTP instance, and they're always being sent on HTTPS. And the HTTP only makes sure that these cookies are never being read with the JavaScript code. So when somebody tries to write malicious code and they try to read the session cookies, because that's what can be used for session hijacking. So these two flags are must for any session cookies or private sensitive cookies you might have in your application. A little demo, I'll be using this. I've taken some instances from the demo to make it feasible with this. This is a secure website. Trust me, it's very secure, where you can just try to search something. And you can see that when you type in hello FOSSASIA, and it gets rendered here, FOSSASIA. And you can also check that there's a query param being entered here. Okay, so this is very straightforward. This looks secure. But how about we try something other than that? What about HTML tags? Now we entered an underline tag, and you can see that it's being sent in the query param, and it's also being rendered here with an underline. That's not intentional, right? That should not happen, right? It should have just shown you exactly what you typed in. And it's not an HTML preview website, it's a search website, like a Google search. What if we try what we have been talking about, this specific code where you write an image tag with invalid image and an on-error attribute, which leads to a prompt. And the prompt now will have a document.domain, which basically fetch the current domain value, the current URL value. And if you try to search it now, there you go. There's a little pop-up being here. Now, if you check that there's nothing being displayed here, and that's because the code has been executed and not being properly sanitized or rendered. What if we try something else? Like, what if we try to read the local storage, which might have some sort of secrets or the user credentials or some of the details of the users? And there you go. In this, it was able to read some of the secret we have stored in the local storage. And so the applications, what I have been using here to show the demo, it was using a React framework. And in this React framework, this particular code, function called dangerously set inner HTML, which is by the name says it's dangerously being used with the query we use here was the user input, and it is as dangerous as it sounds. So a way to avoid this is not to use it, only use it when you require it. In this particular case, we were rendering a user input. We just had to render it as is, and we did not actually need to use it. So we can fix it by just using interpolations. And so a rule of thumb with this type of thing is that never trust user input. Whatever a user is trying to input or enter in your application, do not trust it as is. And you can avoid things like dangerously set in an HTML for React, VHTML for Vue.js, and try to sanitize user input and escape the output so that it's not rendered as is. and build secure links, write ESLint to make sure these things, dangerous functions are not being improperly used in your code. The next topic we are going to cover is called content security policy, and you might have seen this error in the console sometime when you visit like a Facebook.com, Google.com, or any other website, big websites who have implemented content security policy, where it's an advanced mechanism to prevent cross-site scripting attacks and other things like it can be used to securely submit forms. It can be used to migrate your website from using HTTP to HTTPS, and it also helps with mitigating attacks like clickjacking. This The CSP can be deployed via multiple ways, and the most efficient way is to add an header in the code where it has being setting a policy where you can set multiple directives like a default source, a script source, an object source. So, for example, the script source says that only allow certain things from example.com, and the self means the same website, same application domain, and it should not be cross origin. For to understand it more better, let's use a diagram where we have set a content security policy with default sources HTTP at www.example.com, and that means that we will only allow certain resources to be loaded on the website with this particular URL. For example, if we have a request fetching file.js from example.com, it will be allowed. And similarly, if we have something called file.css, which is another file being fetched from the same domain, which will be allowed. But if if the same application tries to use something from malicious.com, that request will be blocked, and you will see an error in the console. So yeah, please feel to explore CSP and have it implemented in your application. And other than that, we have HTTP security headers, which can be useful for various other type of attacks. So you can try to be as specific as possible with them. Now, the most interesting part of the talk is how we have been securing GitLab's front end uh, um, uh, in general, and how what we have done to achieve and improve our security posture. How it all started with a little issue few years back where we try to document and say everything on the issue that hey, there's a lot of scope to improve our security posture, and then we analyzed all the libraries and the current code format we have to increase that and make sure that our application is not vulnerable to these type of attacks. So we have seen that VHTML is bad. Now we needed an alternative to that so that we can use it, and developers don't have to think about writing secure code. It should be secure by default. So we'll build something called vSafe HTML, where no matter what you write and send it to vSafe HTML, it will try to be as secure as possible. And it will, for this example, VHTML, if you try to enter hello with some script tags and world, and the vSafe HTML will try to just sanitize it, and it will just remove the bad code from it. And there's a little link over here, and this open source, so anybody can try to use it if they have it. The same Vue.js application. And then similar to that, we also built a secure link component. So where it's a GL link component we try to make sure that the links are secure by default. So for example, if somebody tries to write an href with a JavaScript code in it, we try to sanitize and just remove any malicious link with that. And so in this example, if then a GL link is having an href with JavaScript code, the output will always be an about blank or something like a null. And this is again, it's part of our component online. And then we also came across multiple problems with third-party libraries. We use particularly we use a charting library in GitLab called Mermaid, and we encountered a lot of security issues in that third-party library, and we ended up paying a lot of money to our HackerOne bug bounty researchers. GitLab pays really good bounty amount, and people try to do full-time bug bounty thing for us as well. So, but it has caused a number of XSX, this particular library, and we tried a different approach to solve that, and where we try to put the entire library output and the rendering part within an iframe, and there's something called attribute called sandbox, where you can try to contain that particular sandbox and create a real sandbox environment. And with that, we were able to contain that number of XSXs or number of issues in a third-party library without affecting GitLab.com or GitLab instances. So we tried to apply multiple defenses in our code base, and with time we have been there was a time where the issue got increased with the number of hackers trying to find vulnerabilities in our platform, and with these multiple defenses applied to our code base and application, we were able to actually make the issue count drop significantly. And I think so. In hindsight, it has worked out well for us. So it's good to make sure that your components you build in your company or your software application, they are following a secure by default approach, so that.
Nice to meet you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Give it up for one more talk for Willem. And yeah.
Okay. I just want to share my personal experience of the open source. So I just want to ask some questions for you guys. Have you ever tried to join the open source community before? Oh, great. So this area, how about you? Okay. Don't worry. There is no lot of technical talk, but just my personal experience. And when I was your age, about 20 years ago, I pretty much go through the same process as you did. So please, if you have any questions, you can just raise your hands, and yeah, we can talk. Okay, a little bit introduce myself. I'm Willem Jiang. I'm from China, and now I'm working for ByteDance. Do you guys use the app from ByteDance? Yeah, TikTok. Yeah, there's a lot of apps from ByteDance, and I'm also board director of the Apache Software Foundation. Do you know Apache Software Foundation? No, don't worry. I will share my journey with Apache Software Foundation, and I'm also an initiator of the Apache local community Beijing. And oh, by the way, I will give a talk with my friend Daniel. 1:30 p.m. in the main hall. If you like, you can join us. And it's just share some cultural difference things. And there's some thoughts how we build the local community. And I think it will benefit you a lot. And before I joined ByteDance, I worked for Red Hat and Huawei for a bit long time. Oh, there's just a video I want to show you.
Dear programmers, aren't you tired of working on others' comments? Have you ever encountered the thought that your job is undesirable, but you must do it? Have you ever felt not receiving adequate credit for the works you've done? If you are suffering from real-life struggles, welcome to the open source community, the utopia for excellent programmers just like you. Programming should be creative and meaningful, and we all deserve to perform coding in a friendly, welcoming environment.
Oh, okay. We will get a lot of love here, but don't worry. Here's my understanding of the open source community. It includes a bunch of people who share the common interest to build the software. And it allows us to work together, to communicate, to bring in new people just like me. And ultimately, build the software together in an open, transparent, and collaborative way. And open source community are more, people are so engaged and willing to share and excited to help each other. So don't be afraid, just go there. And working in the open source community could benefit than what you expected. And I just want to share some personal experience with you guys. Do you know? Oh, I guess you don't know this gentleman, but I met him 20 years ago. And he had a later chit chat with the Dandy House. He is the founder of the XFL and co-founder of the CXF. Now, at that time, I'm working on this project, and we have a very interesting talk. And do you know his major? It's not computer science, not information technology. It's just mechanical. It's just chemistry, and so quite impressive. He's not studying computer, but he did a lot of work on the open source world. And how did he do it? He got a lot of help from the community. He told me he wrote the programs in a bar. And get a lot of feedback from the community, and get the so he learned a lot from the community. So at that time, I didn't realize the open source community is a very good place for you to grow up. And based on my former company experiences, like I'm just doing the coding by assigned task. And nobody care about my code. I just need to deliver the features. And sometimes when I was working on that part, it's like I'm working lonely. No one I can talk, I can share, and I just need to finish my job, just like this coding monkey. So, but it's no exciting. I cannot choose this based on my interest, but so what I need is meet the deadline and deliver the feature, and it's kind of comparisons to the open source world. In the open source world, it's break the silo, and you will get a lot of help from them, your colleagues or the people from the community. And when I come in the code, I always get feedback from somebody in some place, and they care about the code. They are always willing to give you a feedback, and that is quite important. It helps you to understand the code by talking to the people. And I really enjoy the code review process. And in that way, you will learn a lot, and maybe practice your English in that way. And I learned a lot of technical about how to write the unit test, how to do the integration test. In that time, you won't get a panic when do the release. But compared to my previous firm experiences, like they're always sometimes in the middle of night, I need to be, I got a phone call. Your code is broken. You need to fix it. Oh, that's caused me a lot of panic. But in open source worlds, we do it gradually and with the continuous integrations. It's really made my life much easier. Okay, there's a very complicated diagram, and it's just like a conversion company, and you can see the command is in up, down, and in this hierarchy system, if the people just near close the header, they always can get some credit or some things. But as a developers, we usually this way. We cannot talk to the upper management. So it's not a good thing, just I showed in the video. But on the other side, open source community, people are self-organized. They are self-motivated. They are working from different company. So there is no hierarchy system, and there is no manager, but a technical leader. And once you can show you great idea, if you have any great ideas, if you want to talk to the people, you always can be recognized, no matter the background you were. Sometimes people don't know who you are, what you look like. It's just the email address. And so don't be shy, don't be worried. And in this way, when you talk to the community, you always can get feedback. Even you will not have the impersonal conversation, you can get the just like free comments or the mentorship to help you to go through the process and to learn the project. And in this way, I think I spend a lot of time to polish my coding skill in the open source community, and and instead of chasing up the others to just want to get a better performance review or some things. So in this way, you just need to focus on the code and bring the real value to the community. So it's quite easier, and I think it's quite pure. And according to how ASF works, if you look up the website from the Apache Software Foundations, we call it a meritocracy. And once you earn the merit, you will get the repository write access. We call it commit write. Commit write. You can push the codes to the repository, and that is quite important. If you become a committer of the Apache software project, it will make you easier to find a job in the job market, because it's already show your program scale, how you work with the others in a global way. So I highly recommend you guys to look up those projects and to find just like internship. You don't need to go through all the process. What you need to is just say hi in the community and ask the questions and try out the programs. And we call the meritocracy is government by the merit. If you gain enough credit by contribute to the project or the community, you will be recognized. And in this way, it will motivate you very good. And I think it is a very important principle in the community side, especially for the volunteer-based community. For me, my daily job is like I ask the questions in the mailing list and answer the question. From ask the questions to answer the questions, I can feel, oh, I learned a lot. Because you interact with the people and you always learn something from the others. And I think that's the beauty of the open source. Because it's just the open way. You don't need to pass the entry exam. what you need to is open your heart and to embrace the community. And from ask questions to answer the questions, I was empowered by participate those discussions. It's made related to technical. What I should is just incubating mailing list. If you are very interested about how Apache Software Foundation's incubate projects, you can just subscribe the mailing list, and you can keep learning by reading the mail. And there is a lot of interesting discussions. And once you have some questions, you can just ask. People are always willing to answer your question, even you never meet them before. But if you ask right and very challenging questions, you will get some feedback from the community. I think that is quite unique. And for my early experience as a developers, I always talk to the developers and get some feedback. And sometimes they even tweet about that, because I help them solve some problems. And it's really brighten my day. Made me feel very, very proud. And it's like I can do something, change the world. So it's really a great feeling. As you say, open source community is just like a kata place. You practice your program skills, your communication skills. And in this way, we also polish the open source software by adding the functionality, by solving our daily programs. And in that community, people are always willing to share their thoughts and do later innovations based on others' work. And it's made, I think it's made my life easier because I really enjoy the collaborations environment. And for the young generation, just like use the technologies developed very quickly. So which directions you choose? It's really hard a question, but I think in the open source community, there's a lot of talent or world-class developer. They can always share their insight, bring a lot of helps to you. For myself, I want to share the story. James Stretch, if you look up, every 10 years, he made a very great innovation. In the first place, he's founder of the Groovy. From the Groovy, he built. He also worked on Scala, and I'm happy to get a chance to work with him as a Apache Camel project, and it's an integration project. And I learned a lot how to talk to the applications in the industry by maintenance this project, because there's always new stuff come out, and people can submit the patches. And if I look up their patches, I always learn something from their patches, and it's really an amazing experience. And I can see the sparkle from James Stretch when he talked about the Jenkins X, the Kubernetes. Oh, it's about 10 years ago. We have the team meeting in Dublin, and that's Kubernetes just came out, and he keep it talking and show me the directions, and especially he did a lot of CI parts by funding the Jenkins X project. And now he's in another new journey, but with work with this talent engineer, and you can always get some things. And please don't hesitate. And if you have some dream, and if you want to work with the world-class program, you can just join the open source community. And in the open source community, it's pretty easiest for you to pass the entry level. It's like you can read about the project's information from the website, and you can subscribe the mailing list, and you can find out the discussions about the projects from the GitHub issues or PRs. And in this way, people can collaborate by sharing this kind of information, and can work together by tackling the common program, common program. And people are so collaborative, and they always want to share an experience by answer the questions. So don't be afraid to ask the questions, and you can get a lot of feedback from them very quickly. And and by asking questions and send a proposal to the mailing list, I really learned a lot. Okay, so how can we behave in the open source world? And I just want to share the Craig Russell's golden rule, and treat others as you would be treated. Be humble, be honest, be willing to accept responsibility, and criticism without become defensive. Recognize that others are different, and with the skills that are different from you. Yeah, let's embrace the diversity, and together we can build great things. To join the community, I just want to summarize. You need to listen, to see the rules, and to follow the rules, and to understand the code of conduct, and to behave yourself, and to show your works with detailed information. When you ask the bug, when you submit the bug, please submit the stake trace you have. It will help us a lot, and then you will get respect from the community. That's the common process, and I highly recommend you to go with that. And how can you find those projects? This is the ByteDance open source project, and if you're interested, you can follow our Twitters, and there's some front-end projects, and this is AI and big data. It's a backend, and we also have some infrastructures and security project. And for the cloud, WeGo is built on top of Go language or Rust, and this is empowered the ByteDance backend system. And if you're interested, you can just look it up. And we also have some internship. We're open for the people around the world, and it's called. You can look up on the website, and I think it will open to the next month. And please take a look. And if you're interested, and if you are friend-ended guys, you can take a look at our arXiv. It's made by Rust, very fast, and provide a Webpack functionality. And you can use it and give us some feedback. And we are very happy you can join us. And for the AI parts, we also have some interesting models, and get a lot of attentions, especially if you want to create pictures by writing some prompt. You can check out, there's a very SDXL Lightning. It's well faster the process, and it just gives you a picture in a second. Okay, this is our slogan of the ByteDance open source, and inspire the creativity and embrace the open source. If you like, here's our Twitter of the ByteDance, and please follow us. And this is my linking. If you have any questions about open source and any other things, you can just send me a message. And it's really nice to talk with you guys. And yeah, I think we are free to ask your questions. Oh, thank you.
Right, Willem. Thank you so much. Before we open the round for questions, I got one question for you, right? Because I remember, some years ago when I was finishing uni, I was listening to all these talks, right? Coming to FOSSASIA, and I was like, oh, that sounds amazing, right? You meet all these great developers like yourself, but then you're like, oh, I'm not a native English speaker. I don't know if my coding skills are good enough. What are your tips to get started, right, for all the students here?
For me, it's like I share the same experience. My spoken English is not good at that time. It's taking me half an hour to compose email, but don't worry. Practice makes you perfect. And if you take the chance to talk to people, and because the open source community, it's so nice. They always willing to give you a hand. So don't worry. And I think as East Asia people, we share the same culture, and we will talk about in today's presentation around 1:30 p.m. in the main hall. Yeah, if you're interested, you can join us, and I will share more detail about that. And there's some interesting found in the psychological part. And yeah, please join us.
All right, thank you. Any more questions?
Thanks, Willem, for sharing. Just curious, what's the process of integrating these open source projects, right, back to proprietary products from ByteDance?
Actually, as a ByteDance, as an internet company, we built the software to meet our business needs. So with the help of the open source, it's speed up the process. But as a part of the ByteDance open source program officers, we are still checking the process to make sure we choose the right open source project. As you may know, there's some supply chain issues. If there's a security leak, we need to fix this as quick as possible. And if there's some projects without maintenance, we need to try to avoid to use it. But to sum up, open source project is not a free meal. You still need to put some labs, put some resources to maintain it. So in this way, it will empower your business.
Okay, thank you so much. Give up for Willem. Thank you.
You can follow our Twitter. There's some news.
Ready? There's like a 50-50 chance.
Oh, well, you got my presentation anyways. Thank you. Good talk.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
yeah, that's good.
All right. Thanks, everyone. So after this interesting, inspiring open source talk, right, prove that we don't only need developers. I would argue it's better to have much, much more representation of other fields, especially. We come to like a different topic. Yeah, Kristian.
Hi, everybody. I hope you hear me all right. Just to get to know you a little better, can I get a show of hands for those of you who actually are developers or are developing things for the open source? And how many of you do have something to do with open source and tech? Yay. How many of you want to be designers and are here to know more about design? Don't. Just kidding. How many of you are just here because you want to learn a little bit about open source and how it works? Nice. Fine. Let's do just that in the interest of time. I'm not going to take more than 15 minutes right here. So today, we're going to talk about what design does for open source and how to incorporate design into your life, your product, and your practices. My name is Kristian. I'm a senior product designer at Grab. I used to be what they would call a WordPress developer about a decade ago until I finally switched to, well, accessibility design, product design, user research, and open source contributions. I'm one of those weird designers who actually do like hanging out in different spaces and getting to learn different things beyond just our little discipline of UX and UI. And one of those disciplines happened to be, well, open source. And I think that open source is actually great. I use open source a lot. I'm trying to convert a lot of my friends and a lot of my colleagues to open source. I'm actually just genuinely happy every time I come across an open source tool that is, well designed, which is not always the case, unfortunately. Many cases we would come across a situation when open source is something that engineers build, solving a problem for themselves, by themselves, without actually getting anybody else involved. Look, I'm not really saying that anything that you see here is ugly. We're not really here playing around with those terms. What I'm saying is a lot of tools within the open source realm are designed and built for people and by people within the same little bubble, within the same little community. We just talked about what the value of the community is and how to join it. Now, this community is not always diverse. And this community does not always have, well, one of the functions, which is designers. And, well, there's a reason for that. And you see, the reason is that a lot of developers, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of developers think the designers are really good at putting together logos, throwing some fancy colors, maybe adding some animations. You see those slides have fancy animations here and there, and then maybe get out of the way. Because designers are those people who are playing around, they're dressing up nicely, they have tattoos, and they have those little slides over there. But the bulk of the work is actually done by people like that over there, coding things, putting things together daily and nightly. And that is where the brains are at. Now, the thing is that today, we're going to discuss one particular subject. And that subject is, what do we need people like myself for? What kind of value do designers bring? And I'm here to make a case. I'm here to make a little case in the next 10 minutes or so that designers are actually doing a little more, and arguably much more, than just putting together fancy interfaces. If you ever want to be a designer, or if you ever want to hire a designer, or if you ever want to think about learning what designers do, there's not all the fancy things that they're going to show you, and forget turtlenecks, forget fancy tattoos. Again, this is what we play with. Designers are people who do research. They're people who go out there and they talk to your users and they analyze your market and they get to know the people that you are actually working for. Imagine that you're putting together an ice cream shop and you never ate an ice cream yourself and you like vanilla flavored ice cream, never even thought that the market would like strawberry or chocolate. Designers are there to tell you just that. Designers are there to help you put together a strategy. They're there to put all the issues together from your GitHub page. They're there to consolidate all of that and tell you these are the things that you need to focus on and these are the things that you can probably deprioritize. They're the people who are going to tell you that your ideas are good or that your ideas are not so great because, you know, something that seems good in your head may not necessarily be what the market would want. And the designers are there to test those ideas with your users before you write a single line of code. We are there to learn about your users way before you start building the thing. We go out there and facilitate interviews. We talk to the people on the ground. We facilitate surveys. So we send out forms, we analyze them, we put them together, and we give you the summary of the learning. Sometimes what you think is the right call may not be the right call in reality. The designers are there to give you the reality check. They are there to give you the checklist of who your users are, what they want, what they struggle with, and how you can help them. So if you have a product, if you work with open source, and your product does not have a user persona, if you don't have the idea of who your users are, what they do, what they struggle with, and what their aspirations are, ask yourself, maybe you need a designer to help you do that. Designers are there to help you gain this clear perspective. They are there to help you answer one simple question. What are you building? Who are you building this for? Are you doing this as a hobby project for yourself? Are you solving your own problem? Or do you actually want other people to use the thing? And if you want other people to use your product and your solution, you need someone to connect you with those people. You need someone to go out there and to align you with them, and most importantly, to align you with your peers. Now, if you're sitting together with your friend, and if you throw in together a little product that you want to work on, there's very good chance that at some point you may have different ideas of what success is. One of you will think that you need to build a car. Another one will think that you need to build a motorcycle. If you start pulling it in different direction, you're going to end up with a tricycle that's not going to go anywhere because it's not going to have wheels. You're going to focus on the exterior, and somehow you're going to forget the most important parts. Again, designers are not going to be there to just put together the interface. They're going to be there to give you this kind of a reality check through alignment. The workshops, it's a boring work. It takes a lot of time, a lot of pain, and a lot of tears, but in the end, designers are going to help you grow your product. Now, again, you may have the best tech ever. You may have the backbone of the best technologically advanced product that you can ever deliver on the market. No one's going to use it if you can't grow it sustainably. Things just going to overflow with features upon features. No one's going to use it. If people don't know how to do things without this heavy manual that you supply them with, if people see this giant monster of a thing instead of a usable, simple product that is just powerful enough for them to use, you will struggle with a backlog of features that you're going to have to address with endless bugs and issues. They're going to struggle with using it. In the end, it's just going to fall apart. Again, imagine a monster that you're putting together, and the monster's got way too many heads. Designers are there to chop off the ones that you don't need and just to leave you with what you need to help you move sustainably. Now, I just want to give you a quick case study. There was a little product called Form Bricks. You might want to check it out. It's a really good tech. I'm really, really glad to have worked on it. We helped set up an entire GitHub page for it called Form Bricks. It's an alternative to a lot of customer insights gathering tool. Now, this particular page took us 7 days to build, from inception to release. And in the beginning, this page was nothing. It was just a blank page with one simple icon. What we did was we introduced a personalization journey. So once you onboard, you answer a couple of questions, and this page is tailored for you. These are the recommended things that you can set up. Now, in the 7 days, we doubled the user activation rate. Again, not bad. So like 50% more people are now actually proceeding with creating one of the surveys rather than just seeing this blank page and dropping off. It's a simple thing. You may not even have to be an interface designer to come up with it, but you do need to talk to your users. You do need to analyze the data to come up with it, and then you do need to work with your engineers to actually release it. Another example, this beautiful Linktree alternative, it's called BioDrop. Eddie, the leader of the community, is an amazing human being. Go check out BioDrop, fantastic tool, loving it. Now this is as incomprehensive as it gets. You're going to break your brain trying to understand what this thing is trying to do for you. So many videos, so many things out there, so many things happening for an amazing tool that does one job. It brings all your links together. Now, all we did was we just brought together the simple navigation, one little tagline, a product demo, and we paved the roadmap for the future releases. This is how your product looks like today. These are the things that we're going to do really quickly. These are the things that the team has to work on in the next iterations. Over the course of a few months, we're fixing it. We're getting it to the point where anyone's, not even a developer, going to land there, understand what it is, and create an account, right? So for those of you who are actually engineers, who have your products on GitHub, those of you who would at some point become ones, just want you to think about this thing. Designers have no idea what open source is. If I was a designer for open source as a space, I would probably remove the word source from it altogether, but developers are probably going to kill me. Whenever designers hear open source, they ask me same questions. Do I need to code? When they see the GitHub icon, they're like, oh, that's a cute cat. Is this one of your cats over there? And whenever I tell them about branches, well, you guessed it. We need to explain to designers, speaking of joining communities, what they can do. So every time There is a community. Every time there is a tool, every time you want to attract designers, do a little bit of work. Write your documentation. Tell them how they can contribute. For you, if you're a designer, you're going to have to see this. This is your user story. These are the things that people worked on before you. These are the things that we may need your help with. And most importantly, this is my call for the entirety of the open source space. Open source your design process. Your decision-making process and your thinking behind your features is as important as the product that you build. If you build it because you had a vision at 2 in the morning that you want to build a feature and the buttons have to be green, this is not a good design decision, but I want to know this because I will be able to improve that. If you had a reason to do something, please tell me what the reason was, and we're going to be best friends. Now, there's a lot of really well-designed open source tools. There's plenty of them, and they keep growing and they keep coming out. A lot of them are really well put together. A lot of them have designers helping them. A lot of them have really strong design communities. If you ever want to contribute, WordPress has a fantastic design Slack. There's a design system that you can contribute to, and there's a lot of documentation. There's fewer things that you can do with, say, Firefox, but you can design your theme. That's going to be lovely, especially with third manifest. Blender is probably the design tool in the open source world that a lot of designers know, love, very few contribute to because reasons. I believe that together we can do things differently. All we need to do is we actually need to come together to do that. We need to stop being afraid of one another. We need to embrace the fact that we help each other. And well, maybe we can learn a little. So I have 2 resources for you that you could subscribe to today. The first one is my accessibility newsletter. It's free. I'm not charging people anything. I'm writing about building and designing accessible products. The second one is a design podcast. You get to hear my voice a little more. It's called Paper and Pain. We're talking about design. We're talking about engineering and a lot of other things with designers and engineers in Southeast Asia. The second season's hopefully coming out at some point, but you can listen to about 10 to 13 episodes and dial in for one of our lives. And if for some reason you do want to follow me somewhere else, there's my LinkedIn over there and my website where you can find me. I don't bite. I do add people. If you're more of an old school guy, I do have a couple of business cards over here. Let me know if you want one. It's kind of fancy. I like the colors. And if you have any questions, questions are welcome. Thank you.
So, any questions?
So I'm not actually, I don't actually ask fully about technologies, but is relate to a little bit about design. So I used to want to become a graphic designer, and now I want to study a little bit about UX and UI design. But I really curious about how the difficulty, what difficulty that if people like to rely on the AI or open source, to create their, products or something.
AI is not going to steal your job, and AI is not going to steal my job either. Look, the moment when AI understands what makes me happy, the moment when AI understands what makes me sad and what happy and sad means, is the moment when I'm going to move into the cabin in the woods. I'm going to spend the rest of my life hunting koalas somewhere in Tasmania. The issue is AI doesn't. And we as designers, we're not trying to understand how to color your buttons or how to put together the interfaces. We're trying to understand what makes you tick. We're trying to understand what users want. Are there any triggers that are going to make you happy? Is there anything that's going to provoke you to make a decision? How are we going to navigate you through your journey? And when I say all of this, yes, it's an idealistic perception of what makes design design. But ultimately, this is what you're going to be playing around with. Not with variables in Figma, not with what AI is going to do for you, which is just slap some things together and call it a day. But rather making decisions based on what makes you as a user special and what your interaction is. Now, you will need to understand people because it's all going to be about people. And ultimately, yes, it's going to be tough. It's going to be as tough as being an engineer or being pretty much anything. If you want to be good at this, you're You're gonna have to try real hard. But if you like solving problems, and if you like solving problems related to humans, welcome to the field. Let me know if you have any questions. Just drop me a text on LinkedIn. Happy to help. Any more questions? Yes.
Hi. It's a little bit more advanced in the process. After you have all this set up and you actually got a designer, do you have experience on handling like external contribution from a designer in your process?
I love PenPod, by the way. Thank you. Can I give you my business card right here? Thank you so much. Yes, can I also give you my business? I'm basically here for you. All of you, of course, but yes, please. Can I have? If anyone else got fancy stickers, like I obviously have some space on my laptop to add. Okay, we do have. There's a problem that comes in whenever you bring more people, right? You're really good when you're alone. You're really good, fine when you're with friends. Whenever there's a crowd, right? It's kind of hard to navigate. It becomes this sort of like a team management. With Form Bricks, we did two things. First of all, we did it in PenPod, which I'm really proud of. We set up the whole repo. So we have an entire repo where we outline what design process is, what kind of things we want in each issue, and like how do you write user stories essentially. And when people started writing there, I was kind of sort of like helping just make sure that there's reality check and that they're doing the right thing. So somebody's writing that they're going to pick up an issue or they've identified it. There's a couple that are still active and there's a few in archive. Whenever they would submit a sort of like a high level version of what they think the solution is, I would usually just copy paste the same question. What is the problem that you're solving? And this whole thing starts going back and forth. You could do it in the file. We did it in GitHub because I wanted the transparency of it. It gets a little tricky because, again, designers who would contribute to it, a lot of them would have very little experience. So you might want to have someone who's a little more senior, or at least understands the process, and they need a lot of hand holding. So the more detailed the documentation would be, and we tried, the better. We had a couple of features that, again, with a little bit of oversight and with a little bit of going back and forth, we managed to deliver. I wouldn't expect many high quality inputs, but again, better done than perfect, right? It will come gradually. I'm a firm believer in unicorns, rainbows, and the fact that designers will one day join open source. You know, one thing will happen, one or the other. Oh yeah. Anyone else? All right. Thank you so much. Collect my business card if you really want to chat with me later. Find me around. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. There's a tea and coffee break coming up, and then see you back. Very enlightening. I'm going to copy some of the links.
Your business card. I said, are you based in Singapore? Yes, yes. We are actually both based in Singapore. Beautiful. Thank you. We're actually working together. So here's my boss. Oh, yes.
So I hope you had a nice break and you are energized. This talk, I'll try to keep it as engaging as possible. And since most of you are young professionals, like Max mentioned, that having a portfolio for yourself is really important. So today we'll be talking about how you can build one for yourself. And I'll be showing a small demo. It's open source. I won't be writing a lot of code due to the time crunch, but then I'll be having a list of resources that you can go ahead and there's a well-documented README that you can follow the steps from as well. So moving forward with the talk, it's about revolutionizing web development with Headless CMS. So can I see a quick show of hands of how many of you are web developers? Web developers? Great. How many of you know what is Headless CMS? Cool. I see a few hands. And those of you don't, this talk will actually tell you what it is. But before that, a bit of introduction about myself. Hi, everybody. I am Haimantika Mitra, and I'm working as a developer advocate at Hashnode. Sorry for my host voice. I just lost it the day before yesterday, but then let's get started with it. And little bit more about me, since I see most of you have your laptops here. I'm guessing you also have npm installed on your local machine. So go to your terminal, type npx space hello hyphen Haimantika. So this is a cool terminal introduction package that I made for myself just to show it off on conferences like this. That is where you can also find more details about me, my portfolio, what I do, what I've done in the past, and all of those. So that's it about me. Now let's move forward to the interesting part, which is about tech. Great. So, okay, one last thing. So I also have some swags with me, which is notebooks like this, and then there are some stickers. Stickers is basically for everybody, and then there are t-shirts like this as well. I only have 3 t-shirts of 3 sizes: small, medium, and large. So you need to adjust with the size. But then the competition is that whatever you're learning in this particular session, I would like to see some tweets where you can tag FOSSASIA and Hashnote, because that's how I'll figure out who are making the tweets. And towards the end of my session, I'll take 5 minutes to go through the tweets and just randomly select six tweets and just give away swag. So that's about the competition, and not a competition, but just a friendly way to create more buzz about the session. And moving forward, so I asked how many of you know about headless CMS. I just saw a few hands, but for others, basically what headless means is like that the backend is something that is handled by the product or the solution, and the front end part is something that you need to do. And to go by definition, and like it says, so a headless CMS is a backend only content management system, and that's built up ground up as a content repository. And the best part is that it is accessible via APIs. There are many solutions that are available in the market. They also have SDKs in different languages that you can hack with. And also, why people use headless CMS is because it allows you to manage content in one place and be able to deploy that content in any digital space that you want. So to go by definition, that's what headless CMS means. But what it actually does is it separates the content layer from the presentation layer. And what you can actually do, like I mentioned, to brief it, like you have APIs that you can call to, and you can integrate it with your own front end and then have a solution for it. Moving forward, why headless CMS? And currently in the market, there are a lot of options available, and the most popular one is WordPress. Then you also have solutions like Storyblog, then there is Contentful, then there is Strappy, and there are a lot of solution that is available in the market. Because and the major reason for that is it also saves development time, and there is such huge, no matter how many developers there are in the world, there is a very huge need of solutions to be built. And solutions like this, which is some amount or lesser amount of code than traditional coding, it only makes your process faster. So why headless CMS is because at this point, like we mentioned, that data is the key. Similarly, content is the key, especially for tech, or not just tech, also for e-commerce. Because for any and every industry, you'll see there is some amount of content, be it through blogs or videos. But content is something that we are also consuming every day. This is content. Whatever you're seeing on your phone is also content. So what it really helps is headless CMS solutions. It helps you in flexibility in content delivery. Like I mentioned, that you can have it in one place and you can deploy it in any digital channel that you want. Next, it also helps in improving performance and speed. And one of the biggest reason for that is because you have APIs to call to, so that definitely speeds up the performance and your time taken. And then finally, you have future proofing and speed. And the reason to mention this is because a lot of headless CMS solutions, they use recent technologies that are much faster and much scalable. So whenever you are implementing this solution into your products or into the solution that you're building, it makes it faster. And it is, since it's using a recent technology, it also doesn't have a lot of legacy code that you need to update. So these are the 3 top benefits that I feel that you have while using headless CMS. Now, moving forward to that, when do you need to use a headless CMS solution? It's very much tailored for enterprises, but for students, why I use it, I'll give you a demo that I used headless CMS solution to build a blog for myself. Like I have my portfolio, and then there is another page that says blog, which is listing all my blogs. I'll be showing you how that looks. But other than that, mentioned already in my previous slides, that it helps you with multi-platform content delivery. It also reduces the complexity of the content structure. So if you're using a headless CMS solution, that's how you reduce the complexity. Then we have front-end technology flexibility. So if your team is, let's say, if your team can code in React or some other JavaScript platforms, sorry, JavaScript, not platforms, but frameworks, then you can go ahead and do that. You have the flexibility to use any front-end frameworks. And finally, then if you want some scalability and improved performance, then again you can use headless CMS. And last, you can also integrate with a lot of third-party services. There is no cap on how you do it, since it's all APIs. All that you need to do is just make a call, and it's as easy as that. Now, which headless solution to choose? There is no one size fits all solution to it. You need to, like I mentioned, that there are a lot of options available in the market. You need to choose what actually fits the goal for you. You need to do your own research and see what works for you. But in this particular talk, I will be talking about Hashnode headless CMS. And if these are some of your needs, like if you want something to be very customizable, if you want something which is open source, if you want something that's that takes only a few minutes to set up, which I'll show you in my demo, then headless Hashnode is a great option for you. And some of the key features that headless Hashnode has, especially as students or as writers or somebody who is creating content, we do have AI assisted writing. So just come up with an idea, and if you want to improve your grammar, if you want to shorten it and do all the fancy things that AI can help you, that's already inbuilt. Next, we also have inline commenting. So for people who have used Google Talks, you'll see that there is an option for us to go and add comments, add reviews. So you can also do that in Hashnode. And then finally, we have collaborative editing. So if a blog is being written by me and my friends or my colleagues or 2 or 3 more people, you can also do that. So these are some things that I find very useful, and especially as early tech professionals or somebody who is a student, these features can definitely help you a lot. Now moving forward to the demo time. So this is where I'll try to keep my mic down and speak as loud as I can. Let's hope you can hear me, but or I'll try to just code with one hand. So like I mentioned, that I'll show you how I built my blog. So this is basically it. I have a few blogs. These are all being fetched from Hashnode. I'm sorry for the front end part. I just coded it on a day. But basically, this is how you can also implement. And I'll show you how you can do that. So Hashnode has this repository, which is open source, and it's a starter kit. All that you need to do is fork it and create a clone for yourself. I have already done that on my local machine, so I'll be skipping this step, and then I'll move forward to my VS Code. I hope you can see it. Great. I am already in. Just a second. I'll do a lot of cd dot dot. Great. So once you fork it, this is how your VS Code or any IDE of your choice is supposed to look like. And then there are 3 packages that Hashnode provides right now. And the one that you saw in my demo is a personal theme. And then there is enterprise theme as well. And then there is Hashnode theme as well. So if you go to hashnode.com, you'll see that there's a particular theme that Hashnode follows while showing articles. So that's how it looks in general. And you can choose from the theme. The entire code structure is a monorepo structure. So whichever theme you're choosing, you need to go into that folder to install the dependencies and get it started. So I'll just do that quickly. So if you see that we are in our starter kit folder, which is the main, the fork that we just made. And then I need to go into my packages. So I'll just do that, because inside packages are my themes, my blog starter kits, and the different themes that I mentioned. So inside packages, if you can see that there is blog starter kit, or you can just do an ls and see what are the files that we have. So we have a cd, we need to do cd to blog starter kit, and then I'll do an ls again. I'll see there's themes. So I'll just get inside the document, sorry, the folder themes, and then if you do an ls again, you'll see that there are 3 themes that are available. And for this particular demo, I'll show you how you can build and customize a blog using your enterprise theme. So I'll just do the last CD into enterprise, and that's it. So now we are into our main theme that we will be replicating today, which is enterprise. And now we need to do an pnpm install to install all the packages that this theme needs. So that will take a little while, and it's done, which is great. And then what I need to do is, within enterprise, if you scroll down a bit, you'll see that there is a .env file. So basically the .env file, it needs 3 things. One is the hashnode GraphQL API endpoint. The second one is, I'll give you another example. So just give me a second. I need to log into my another account. Nope. Yes, just so I'm logging into my hashnode account, and if you see that right here, the internet is a bit slow, but once you have an account and a few blogs on hashnode, and if you log in, this is what you will see, and this is where my profile is. So the main thing that I need in my env file is this name, which is Haimantika m.hashnode.dev. So I'll go back to my VS Code and I'm trying to find my .env file. Yes. So my .env file is already here, and I have, so these 2 things, like the first one, which is the hashnode GraphQL endpoint, will stay as it is. We also have an .env.example file that you can copy and paste it into our actual env file. And then the next thing that you need is your publication name, which in my case is Haimantika m.hashnode.dev. For you, it will be different. So you populate that. And then this mode can be development or production, depending on how confident you are to have it in production. But for this particular demo, we'll have it on development. And that's all the changes that you need to make. And now I'll do a npm run dev, hoping the demo gods don't show up and it runs, and I can show you a local deployment of how it should look like. Well, it's running and my fingers are crossed, hoping that it works. Okay, we have a local host deployment. Just let me click on it. Great. So just to recap, so this is my hashnode profile, and if I am going here, if I'm going to my blog home, you'll see that I have 2 blogs, and now I wanted to create a blog for my own self. So all that I did was I cloned the hashnode open source repository. I added my .env, the environment variables. And then this is what hashnode, I just needed to install a few dependencies and just run it. And this is what hashnode gave, prepared for me. So the next step is I'll show you how you can easily customize it. The entire code base is written mostly on Tailwind and Next.js. So to change some CSS, what we can do is we can probably go to our, let me see what I can change for you. I am trying to find, okay. Just a second. Okay, so let's try something. Maybe what we can do is we can go to our components, and if you see that if you see that we have a lot of components, which is the footer component, the header component, maybe we can go to our cover picture component. This is how the cover picture looks right now. And let's say that I want it to look a little more rounded. So let's see. So if you see that we have this file, which is inside a container folder structure, which says it's a cover image file. And let's say that I want to make it a little more rounded. So I'll change the CSS a bit and probably make it to rounded XL. And when I refresh it, you'll see that it's a bit more rounded than now. Or let's say if I want to maybe change something else, that also you can do it from here, right here. And then what I would also want to change is some color. I'm trying to change. Okay, so if you see, this is our Tailwind file, and then there are some primary colors that are changed. So when I go back to my deployment, you see here that the the primary color is blue, which means my buttons are blue, my newsletter section is blue, and all of, if I'm also hovering on my links, these are blue as well. And I would like to change it to red, or any other, maybe to green as well. So all that I need to do is I need to see where the code is written, and then let's say I want to change it to red. So I do that, and as you can see that the color, primary color, has changed to red. And even the, while I'm hovering on my link, it's red, and everything here else has changed to red. So these are two simple ways how you can easily go ahead and customize. These are very simple ways, but what I have also done is I have added a dark mode to light mode changes. So you can also do that. You can add svjs for it, and a component for it, and you can customize it as much in any way that you want. So for this particular demo, I'll be keeping it short, but that's pretty much it. Now I'm almost coming to the end of my session. So that's how you can easily build. Sorry, it's taking some time to present again. But then that's pretty much it about how you can build a headless CMS solution for yourself. And here is the QR code that has all the resources that I just mentioned, including the open source repository, the blogs, and anything else that can help you get started. And below is my Twitter handle, and I am, you can find every other detail from my social handles there as well. And I'm also very active on social media, so at any point of time, if you need any help or if you have any doubts, I am more than happy to answer your question. And also in the QR code there is our Hashnote Discord channel. So at any point of time, if you need support, you just need to drop a text and somebody from the team will respond to you almost instantly. So that's it. And while I'll be ending this session, I would like to remind you about the competition that's going on, which is you need to tweet your learnings and tag FOSSASIA and Hashnote. And maybe a few minutes later, I'll see how many of you have done that and give you some swags that I have. So yeah, that's all for this session. And I hope you learned something out of it. And I'll be very eager to see if you're building your own portfolios using Hashnote. If you're doing so, you can always tweet out to me or send me a DM. And yeah, I'll be there maybe reposting it or cheering you from afar when I'm going back to my country. So yeah, that's all from my end. And thank you for being such patient listeners. Thank you.
All right. Haimantika, thank you so much. Guys, if you have any questions? One and Vic.
I already have few blog posts written on Medium, some on Dev2 and some on other platforms. Are there any migration tools available if I want to move all of them to Hashnote? Is it only RSS or something else as well? Okay, thank you.
Yes. Any more questions? Great. Thank you so much. All right, welcome back, everybody. We continue with the web development track with Anton and a bit more, I assume, on the backend side as well as the front end side. All right, Anton, thank you.
It will be mostly about architecture. Yeah, my name is Anton Shepilov. I'm CTO of the Twake Workplace. And today I will talk what challenges that we've met developing distributed drive application. So at first, I want to tell you about what is Twake Workplace in general, because Twake Drive, it's one of the products that included in the Twake Workplace. And Twake Workplace, it's a collaboration platform ecosystem that consists of the several tools that will help you to work with other people, towards your goal and purpose. So we have mail application. I won't describe what is mail and go further. We have chat application. We have video conference application, calendar, and of course, T-Drive, about what I will talk today. And all the products are integrated and communicated with each other, communicates with each other. So to begin with, I want to tell you about our starting point. It's important for this speech. It's a previous version of the Twake, old Twake. So it was more or less a product about the same goals, to help people to collaborate, but it was more like open source Microsoft Teams. If you will look at the screenshot, you will need to spend time to find 10 differences. It has messaging documents, the same calendar and tasks that will help you to communicate. But we've decided to rewrite it. We've decided to rewrite it almost from scratch, and we've decided to rewrite it because we want to be open. Open not only in terms of the open source, but also open in terms of the architecture, to use open standards, and that will allow us for these almost 5 reasons. It will allow us to be more secure because it's open standards. Everyone can see your code, what you're developing, what about your protocols, and it will be easy to support. Also, you have more credibility. If everybody will see your code, what you are running, you have more trust from the people that are using your product, also in terms of the security. And also it will allow us to collaborate and to work together on the protocols, to work together on the applications. So we've decided to rewrite on from scratch, but for Twake Drive, we forked the old Twake application, and we've developed it further, we've modified it. So we forked it and we had MVP in 3 months. It was working MVP with these functions. You can store files, upload it in multiple different ways. You can create documents through the OnlyOffice integration. You can search the documents, search just regular search by content inside the document. You can share documents by the link, or share documents inside your team. And also you can collaborate and work together on the documents also through the OnlyOffice integration. About the architecture of the application. So it was Node.js and React.js application for the front end. For the metadata database, we made application distributed to make it able to scale. So for the database, it's a Cassandra or MongoDB. For the distributed search, it's Elasticsearch or MongoDB. And to store in object, it's like a 3 compatible object storage. Of course, everything could be run in Kubernetes and orchestrated and monitored with Grafana and Prometheus. So, and we've modified our architecture. We modified it. We've added support of the more databases. I will speak about it a little bit more later. We've added support of the PostgreSQL. We've added support of the OpenSearch, mostly because Elasticsearch doesn't have the license of the OpenSearch is not totally open. And also we make the middle layer of the application more modular and more scalable, because also I will speak about it later. And we added integrations with OnlyOffice, with OIDC stuff, with the OpenOffice server, and we made the application more secure. about the architecture of the application. Is it microservices? No, it's not microservices. It's a little bit holy war topic, and before, I think several years ago, in every software conference, you will see multiple speeches about the microservices and microservices architecture. You can consider our architecture is monolith but modular. Why we didn't go to microservices? It's because of mainly this reason. It's time consuming to support the same tooling and the same code standards for every microservice. It's more expensive to integrate each microservices in your build CI lifecycle and release lifecycle also of your application. And it's more easy to support and profile, especially for a small team. If you have monolith application, just check out application, put a breakpoint, and you know where is your bug. But with microservices, you are not able to do this. But we've moved some very resource-consuming operation to the separate services to make it more easy to scale. The most time-consuming operations for the Twig Drive application, it's generation of the preview files and parsing the file content to make it searchable. And we've moved everything to this server layer. So we've split our application into services. Each service you can consider as a separate application that has its own connection to the database, its own HTTP layer, and all of the applications are independent. They have started in the platform through the dependency injection and communicate with each other with the message bus and for packets that we can maybe later transform into something more near to microservices. So this is a piece of code. It looks how the platform is started. You just list services that you want to be started inside the application, and you can have it like this. You can have it list in the configuration. You can put a path where these services are located. And also you can switch modules regarding your security policies, because we want to make our application more secure. I see spammers, and that's a joke, and that's true, because if you are releasing your service in SaaS, it's almost 100% that your first users will be spammers, and any other guys who will try to use your service not in a good way. When we were releasing the previous version of Twig, as I've said, it was open source Microsoft team, and it was rather closed applications without any external communication. But even there, we have spammers who will try to spam through our platform with the invitation process, and you will need very strict rate limits, very strict security policies, and even with these strict security policies and rate limits, you will find people who will try to find a way how to spam through your product. So we will try about the security. 3 states of the data that we have right now: at rest, in transit, and in use. When we store data at rest, so everything encrypted in the metadata database, everything encrypted with the company key. Every file that we store in the storage encrypted with its own key, and every key also encrypted. When the data is transit, it's encrypted by SSL, and when data is used, it's not encrypted because you're using it in the browser. The main reason we do not support right now P2P encryption because we have only web browser application, and it's very complicated to implement P2P encryption in the browser. It's easy to implement, but it will be not easy to use for the end user. So we will come back to P2P encryption when we will have mobile application. When Twig Drive will have mobile application, we will add the P2P encryption for the mobile application. So also about security, nothing is cached, nothing is logged. When you upload your file in the browser, it's directly through the streams go to the object storage. So we split file into chunks. Each chunk is encrypted separately, and for each chunk, there is a direct stream from your browser, from your hard drive to the object storage. Just with security, and we're splitting it in the chunks, and there is just several pipes in the several services that will allow to transfer data in small pieces and do not have the whole file anywhere. Metadata encryption and how we implement it. We implement it with symmetrical encryption with AES 256 algorithm, and we made it with custom ORM because it was very easy to implement. You have custom decorators where you should put just OK, encode this file into the JSON, encrypted JSON, and you have these 3 lines of code that will just encrypt and decrypt everything. It was very easy to implement and to do it with this custom ORM, but it has several drawbacks. I will speak about it later. Because also, okay, we have custom ORM. Then we will generate all the database query with this ORM. Why not? So also we made application more extensible and to be able to communicate with the other application. Right now, we do not implement any open standard in the Twig drive. We will implement WebDAV. It's planned by the end of this summer. But now, no. What we have HTTP API. We have integration with the ODC providers. You can integrate your application through the event message bus and consume events from the T drive. And we have also applications, abstractions inside the application. It's kind of plugin. You describe your plugin, you describe how it should behave, what API it should call, how it should look like inside the application. In this example, you see just only Office integration, like it integrates in the context menu. And when you click on this button, for example, create Word document, it will appear a window when you can create document. So next point, we forked the old Twig drive application. It means that we need to deal with legacy. One is this ORM. At first we supported MongoDB and Cassandra. And it's absolutely 2 different databases with different model structure, with different schema, with different query capabilities, with different way how you write the queries. Why we support multiple databases? It's because we want our drive application run on several environments, different environments. You can use Cassandra for very big installation of the Twig drive, geo-distributed with multiple servers. But if you run it, I don't know, on your local NAS or for the small company for 10 people, there is no need. It will be very costly for you to support the Cassandra cluster. And this is the example. We have in Twig drive, we have versions for every file when you can upload or download exact version of the file. And for every file, you need to have a list of version. And for every user, you want to have a list of versions that was created by these users. And in the very first example, in Cassandra, we need 2 databases, 2 tables to make it work. You have file version with the partition key file ID and version ID and created that as a clustering key. Or you can convert it in time you need, no matter. And you have user versions with the partition key user ID and the cluster key version ID and created that. So this is 2 tables. I don't know how deep I should go into the Cassandra query model and the modeling data for the Cassandra, but to avoid cluster scan, full cluster scan, you have to have this partitioning key. There is no way until you will have I don't know, dozen millions of records, everything works fine in every database, no matter data model you have. But after, you will need to do these optimizations 100%. And in MongoDB, it's just one collection with file ID created at fields. You can add indexes on these fields, and everything will work more or less good. So how we solve this problem? We've added support of the third database. We've added support of the PostgreSQL. It's like something in the middle. It will allow us to have medium installation because one single instance of the PostgreSQL supports from 10,000 to 70,000 random read and writes per second. It will support 1 terabyte table without any very complicated partitioning, and it's SQL. It's very easy to develop and very easy to optimize. So we've added the support of PostgreSQL, and also we've moved the support of multiple databases to the service layer that I've described previously. From ORM to the service level. So you can have, for example, in the same Wake drive running instance, one service that is working with Cassandra and another one that is working with PostgreSQL and Mongo. Other fun that we dealt when we were developing the Wake drive application. Dealing with legacy, lack of documentation. So these to-do files, when this documentation is not to date, it's 100%. If you are forking some legacy product, you will find these to-dos. Outdated dependencies. It's very, very important for the security reasons to fix such kind of warnings. And if it's legacy product, it won't be easy to fix because some products, especially in the Node.js and especially in the JavaScript ecosystem, they don't have backward compatibility. You will need to rewrite from scratch. And the technical debt, this to do on the top, that is temporary and should be deleted. This to do was 5 years old. So, and you will find a lot of such kind of to-dos. It's also another topic, how to deal with the technical debt in the product, but it's also for another speech. What's next? This is our roadmap. Right now, we have only on-premise installations of the Wake drive with some of the client. I think the biggest installation is 10,000 or 15,000 users and 50 terabytes of data. We are planning to release our public SaaS service this June. Also, this year we are going to develop desktop application and mobile application, and to add more plugin application management to make it more easy to integrate another application inside the Wake drive. Also, we want to increase our integration between our product with the Wake chat application, with the Wake mail application, because I don't know, it's very not convenient to send big files through the email. It's very time-consuming and resource-consuming operation. And in most of the services, you can't send big files through the email. But you can send the file transparently, for example, by if you are sending file like a link to Wake drive. For user, it will be transparent. He's just uploading file to his mail, but it will be not file, it will be linked to Wake drive. Also integrating with the distributed file system Web 3.0 based on blockchain and or not. You also can integrate Wake drive with some of the such kind of system right now, because if they support S3 compatible protocol, it's fine. You can use it. but some of them not, and with some of them we want to be integrated, and also integrated with the AI services. These two, OpenLLM and Lean2, we are developing in Linagora. OpenLLM is just a large language model, and Lean2 it's a tool for transcription. So it's a tool for transcribed speech into the text. That's what we are doing. And the last about advertisement, a little advertisement. We want you guys, we need you. We also need you in different terms. At first we are hired. We are hired here in Hanoi. We have office in Hanoi. We have offices in Tunisia. We have office in France. We have internship program. So if you are students or you are already developers, you can join us. You can write to me direct message. You can write to me in Telegram and by email. And you're welcome. And also you can join us on GitHub. You can look at the products of what we are doing. Of course, we are looking for the contribution, and also we are looking for some integration. If you're already developing your own product and you think that it can be a part of that Wake workplace, or we can have some interactions between our product, also feel free to write me personally to write on that Wake Drive channel in the Telegram. Also, you can write me on GitHub. Anyway, you're welcome. Thank you, guys. That's all for me. And your question, sorry, I forgot your questions. No questions?
I got one, if you don't mind. For me, interesting would be to know, how do you guys handle testing, right? Because as you said, you have like the very small home NAS installation all the way to like enterprise business with like 50 terabytes of data. How do you make sure that like all the software works, like all the layers work for every single scenario? That sounds like a lot to test.
Good question, because not all of the scenarios are tested. So we have, of course, we have unit testing. It's like a basic level. Everything is tested with unit test. We have also integration tests that we run on GitHub for every platform, for every combination of the databases, for every combination of the search. We are running all the tests. And also we have load testing, but load testing we are running not for every combination. Load testing we are running only for the products, for the databases that we are considered for the high load. So we load, right now we are running load testing for the Cassandra and for the Elasticsearch. That's it.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, any more questions? All right. Thank you, Anton.
So let us start. Who knows what arXiv is? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So it is this website. It's probably the website is not so immediately clear what it is. To give you an idea, it is a preprint server, the oldest preprint server we have. It was started in 1991, collecting scientific articles, publications, articles mostly on mathematics, computer science, physics, and a few other computational biology. So we have a lot of categories. So if you think like 33 years ago, so since then we have a lot of articles that have been published and on our website. We are currently at about 2.4 million articles, all in, well, at the moment, computer science is, of course, the biggest part. Physics is also very strong. And so it's actually accelerating. I mean, everyone is publish and perish, right? So a lot of articles are uploaded nowadays. So a few examples of what has been published on arXiv. I guess all of you have heard LLM. large language models, right? They were first published on arXiv. So the original article is on arXiv. The LIGO, the gravity wave, which got the Nobel Prize in physics some years ago, was published first on arXiv. And I'm a mathematician, so very famous, the Perelman gave a proof, one of the Millennium conjectures, the Lagrange conjecture. He publishes also only, uploaded his work on arXiv and requested other scientists to look into this. So it is really the source of a lot of knowledge we have accumulated over the last years. It is true that a lot of articles we have at arXiv are first uploaded to arXiv and then published in more classical standard journals, you know, like whatever, computer science or mathematics. But we have also, I mentioned before the Perelman, we have also a lot of articles that are only published on arXiv. So this is an approach to open science. So we want the people can just upload and then other people can look in this and create an open discussion about these research results. So this is something we are striving for, and yeah, so arXiv is quite good at this. So open at arXiv. It's actually not only what I will discuss today. We have several things. So first of all, it's open science. If you are somehow in science, in academics, you probably heard the discussion about open science. You know, many are scientific articles. Oh, I'll come to this later. Then open source. So we use a lot of open source and we provide open source solutions. And it's open access under tick marks, because open access is often related to open science. In this respect, I considered accessibility. We want to make not our research, we want to make our service, the website, the research, everything accessible to everyone. That includes people that are visually impaired, have hypersensitivity. So there are a lot of things that we need to take into account. This is mostly the topic of today, but I will go through the other two very short. So open science, so there is no paywall. If you ever have tried to download the paper from the JSTOR and you are not an institutional member, you are asked for like $70 for a single PDF file of an article you might need for your research. So this is not in our case, it's completely open access to all articles. And above that, also the sources of all articles. So it's not only the finished PDF, but actually the text sources are available for not all, for about 90% of our articles. Thinking back from the 2.4 million, this is quite a lot. So that was a decision by the founders of arXiv, Paul Ginsberg and his co-workers. It was a conscious decision back then to request submitters to submit also the tech code. And that is very helpful, we will see later, because we can now do things with the tech code, like convert it to HTML, which with pure PDF would not be possible. So open source, so we use a lot of open source. Yeah, so also a generational divide. So we use TECH. It's a typesetting system, very popular, very common in mathematics, physics, a bit less in computer science, but still. So this is just, you have a text file and it's converted to a PDF more or less. And we use another an open source program, LaTeX ML, which is developed by NIST. I will go into this a bit later. We also produce open source, not that much, I have to say, but still we have a version of Autotech that was our automatic system, or is still our automatic system to convert. Now, you don't want to dive in the code. It's on CPAN, it is 40 or 30 years old Perl code. It's not fun to read. It does what it does, but we are rewriting everything in Python now and also Dockerizing. So we are working on to provide a open source text to PDF container that can be used as providing an API. That is what we will use already partially using on the arXiv websites already. So that is in process, and we will do this in future. So open access. Now, open access, you probably have heard about accessibility, right? A lot of activity we will have here after lunch break. We have a talk about accessibility and finding errors in accessibilities. Now, accessibility, what does it mean? Not all people are equal, and not all people have the same ability. So for very simple, blind people cannot easily read the website, right? They need special tools. Now, there has been a lot of work in this direction, W3C standards, guidelines, how to make websites, so HTML source code accessible. The reason is because there are screen readers, there are a lot of tools for people that can help access content without actually seeing it. The problem with the arXiv website, so our website by itself is accessible. So that was the easy part actually. But is this real accessibility? I mean, our biggest problem is like what we really provide are PDF files, of research. Now, the big problem is that PDF format is not really accessible. So, I mean, I don't go into details. There's a lot of new standards, also PDF 2.0 and general accessibility, but we are far from a state where PDF can be used for handicapped people. So just to give you a simple example, so this is a typical, okay, that doesn't work, the pointer. So this is a typical research article. I just picked one from the last few days in mathematics, something I understand. It's about PNP. So it's a typical page. You see so I mean, if you have ever read a research article, you probably have seen something like this. So it's a digitization of a page, where actually it was meant to be printed and then, well, read like a book. But in reality, we all are aware that the mismatch between, you see already here, the mismatch between the page geometry and how our screens are oriented is a huge problem. You normally don't turn your laptop, right, to read your screen. So what happens? You have to scroll. If you zoom in, you have to scroll horizontally. So this is really a problem. There is a few work going on. So if you heard, PDF has developed this, something called liquid mode to allow for reflow of PDFs. The problem is restricted to mobiles, and it's commercial, so nobody can use this. So, well, it's not really a solution we can use. So improvements in reflow, so that this is not always like this. It's more like HTML, you know, like HTML, if you make your browser more narrow or wider, then, well, the text changes, right? This is called reflowing. That doesn't work with PDF. You have to scroll around. So that would help a lot. Then other PDF limitations. Now, I don't expect you to understand what is written there. So this is the actual content of a PDF file. It's actually a paper that I published myself. You see, the structure is completely lost. So what is here written, this part, is the title and the authors. So separating intermediate logics of whatever, yeah, so something I wrote. Yeah, and there is no structure in here. The structure in PDF is completely lost. So it's just put the letter here, put the letter here, put the letter here, put the letter here. That doesn't help people who want to have something that is accessible, because you want to know section, paragraph, I want to go to the next paragraph, I want to look into formulas. So section, heading, captions, these are all just typographic markup, nothing else. So again, Adobe is of course aware of this. They have developed something that is called tagged PDF that tries to eliminate these problems by adding information into the PDF. We have a problem, most documents are not tagged, and we don't have viewers that support them. And also from the LaTeX side, there is only very preliminary support to generate tagged PDF. So, well, that's not really an approach we can offer for accessibility. And so we have a lot of researchers that are handicapped in the sense they cannot see or have high sensibility. They need different changes. They tell you one thing: please use HTML. There's a very simple thing. Why? Because HTML is by design responsible. You have responsive design, it reflows automatically. Nowadays, most browsers have something like dark mode. People who are very sensitive to white colors would like to have a dark mode because otherwise they cannot read it. Not really related to this, built-in translations. Now most browsers provide built-in translations for HTML. This is also a kind of accessibility. If you are not fluent in English, you might enjoy getting at least a bit of support of automatic translation. There are a lot of add-ons for dyslexia. Dyslexia is when the order of characters, of letters are changed, so you read them incorrectly, and visually impaired everything. Another thing that HTML, if you are not a complete maniac, then HTML preserves the structure. Of course, you can write HTML like PDF before, like always make a big font, make a small font, but normally you do it with markup. You say, this is the header, this is a paragraph, this is a table. So every normal HTML document has proper markup, which is then accessible. There's a rich marketplace for assistive technologies. There are a lot of plugins for handicapped people they can use. They are used to them. They are very fast doing them. They're very efficient in reading stuff. Not to speak of search engines, work much better with HTML than PDF. Extraction of text from PDF. Again, if you look back at this, so extraction of text from here is a bit more complicated because sometimes, well, words are split up. You need to halfway interpret this. And text harvesting is all much easier. Just to give you an idea, the arXiv corpus is part of practically every LLM that is trained because it's open, so yeah, everyone has access. So, but there is one problem, right? We mentioned it before. All the scientific articles are in PDF, and yeah, converting PDF to HTML is really hard. So as I said before, the structure is lost. So there was a project by Allen Institute of AI. They tried to, with an AI model, to generate from PDF the HTML. And so by AI model detecting, recreating but that didn't work out quite well. So what we then decided is because we have 90% of the articles have the text source, right? To start at the text source. So now I don't get crazy. I will not give you an introduction to tech. Just to give you an idea, tech or LaTeX is a text file. You create a text file here on the left side, and it is compiled to a PDF. The PDF doesn't have a structure, right? It's just typographic stuff. But the document itself, and this is really the whole document produces this one. You have a section, you can have title, section, subsection, and this is all marked up. It's not HTML, but it's very similar. It's a different kind of markup. So this markup has the advantage that if we can reuse this to convert to HTML, that would be very nice. So another thing why it's so popular in science, because it is really good in mathematics. And if you ever have tried to enter formulas into a WinWord document and then looked at the output, then this is very disingenuous. So Knut generated a very standard language to convey mathematical expressions. This is actually used even in Microsoft products nowadays. So this is the standard language between scientists nowadays if they want to commute a formula. Many people use this without using tech by itself, just to communicate. And for example, this here would create the formula on the side, right? Okay, that was all I showed you of tech code. No worry, no more tech code here. So a bit of history tech. So it was invented by Donald Knuth, very famous for the art of computer programming. You know the story, who was it? Who said that the Apple guy said, if you have read through all of the books of Knuth, of the art of computer programming, you get a permanent position without having an interview. So Knuth was just frustrated with the printing quality. Back then, in the 60s, everything was printed back. Well, I don't get into the linotype optical printing. So he was very fed up with the quality of the print. So he invented his own typesetting system, his own font design system, his own fonts, just to set his own books. Yeah, well, this language, so it is very similar to other languages back in the times. Scribe is still around. Most people haven't heard of it, Ranov also. And the language he created is actually a Turing complete language. So now what does it mean? It's, well, practically it's a full-fledged programming language. Turing complete means you can compute whatever you want with tech. It might take a bit long, but it's, yeah. This is a blessing in the sense that users can create very complicated stuff, very detailed graphics, very nice layout, but it's also a curse because reinterpretation is very hard. Lots of people do a lot of crazy stuff. So converting LaTeX to HTML was our aim because it's the only thing we can do. From PDF that didn't work properly, so we started from LaTeX. We have, as I said before, nowadays 90% of the papers that are nowadays submitted are written in LaTeX. We have very few exceptions for different. We have very few exceptions for people not uploading the source code, so we have the LaTeX code available. The problems, how to write the LaTeX to HTML compiler, yeah, everyone could say, okay, this is a nice holiday project. Let's write the LaTeX to HTML compiler, right? If you look at the sources here, it looks not that complicated to parse and write, right? I mean, that is H1, H2, blah, 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 so not so hard, right? Well, unfortunately, it is very hard because the tech compiler itself ignores at the end, at the output side, all the structure. It's all just typographic setting. The simple things like, as I mentioned before, a section or something, these are easy to do, but there are hundreds, thousands of packages that add additional functionality to LaTeX, and they all have to be hand added for a special case for the translation. So this is a huge undertaking. So we looked at the current solutions there is LaTeX ML, this is developed by Bruce and Dejan. There is Tech for HD that Anton developed it for long, and now it's maintained by Mikhel. And then there's this text PDF I mentioned before, developed by the LaTeX core team. So the first two are more or less equal in quality, in success rates. So we compared them on a huge corpus of arXiv. We settled for LaTeX ML. Why? Also because there was a project before. It's called arXiv, and you have to be careful here. There's a 5 here. Yeah, it's not an X. That was this website Mikhel and Dejan and Mikhel set up already long years ago to provide HTML access to arXiv papers. That was set up already. Of course, there were about 20% failures. Of course, there are visual glitches, but and it's costly. Yeah? Just to give you, so reconversion of articles, one article is $0015. Well, if you could multiply this by 2.4 million, you have a unfriendly amount of money you would for every iteration we have to do. So it's incomplete, I have to say. As I say, 20% are failing. A long list of packages we have not supported for the LaTeX infrastructure. One of the most famous is a famous graphing diagram package, sticks. There are edge cases. There are people who are authors who write really strange things. But, and that is the big but, it is something where handicapped researchers can work with. So the feedback was incredible. Everyone was like, big thanks, because they finally can read HTML papers. Sometimes there are errors, but before there was nothing. Now they have at least something, right? So for screen readers, I mean, they can live with glitches because they get more or less, like if it's like 80–90% of the article, that is great, right? So that was a huge improvement we rolled out. Actually, it is rolled out. We rolled it out like 1.5 months ago. We brought this arXiv with 5 in-house. We are working with them very together. The submission process already, we want to motivate authors that on submission, they check the HTML and maybe help to make it better with respect to accessibility. It's not blocked by now, but this will probably not come in the future. Okay, a bit for the user interface, since we are running out of time. So if you ever have looked into, that is the paper I showed you before. So before there was always only this few PDF and the text source and maybe other formats, and now we have the HTML here. So that is new. You can click on that. What you get here is then a page. It stays better. We are not, well, it's not perfect. It shows the table of contents, so we extract, you can navigate, also very important for screen readers. We also show warnings about things that didn't work in the conversion, because, well, we are gathering feedback. So we support formulas and everything, dark mode, and we always have a huge report issue, because we want everyone to report issues with the conversion so that we improve the stuff. And that was an incredible feedback. We have thousands of reports already. So people are really happy about this feature and use it. But you see, I mean, this is not images, right? These are actual formulas in MassML. So blind people can read this with screen readers. That's a huge improvement. Before it was absolutely impossible. So what do we want to do in the future? So work with later HTML team to improve conversion rates, improve visual glitches, cost-effective way to recompile. At the moment, we only convert new submissions, but not the old, because 2.4 million is a lot and costs a lot of money. We also look into, in the future, also to provide accessible PDF. This is when the latest core teamwork is ready for the tagged PDFs. A big topic is charts and graphs, very difficult, right? I mean, it's often a lot of data is hidden behind a graph, a chart. So, and here getting information out of it is very hard. Yeah, providing the data behind graphs, because that is what helps. And then auto captioning, like we want authors to actually add alternative text. But if they don't provide, we are thinking about using AI models to auto-generate descriptions. So as a summary, accessibility is very important. There are lots of researchers who wait for this for a long time. The feedback was incredibly positive. So not only from handicapped people, so from a lot of people who want to read papers that reflow automatically. So there's a lot of extremely positive feedback. We are still far from the last mile. Even from the last mile, we are far away. There are a lot of packages we have to work with, a lot of support that has to improve. But, and that is something which is really important, I mean, it provides a service to the community that is now here, that has been not available for many, many years. Just for those who are interested, we are also running an arXiv accessibility forum later this year. The website is open since very recently. Well, it will soon be published in a blog post also. Yeah, last but not least, a few of acknowledgements. First of all, we all want to thank the researchers, the blind researchers, the handicapped researchers with whom we have worked. They gave incredible feedback. So we have a lot of interviews, permanent checks with them. Does this work for you? Does this helpful? They have provided incredible input for improving the situation. Then the usual statement that this is supported by the NSF and everything is my own meaning. And last but not least, I have joined arXiv recently. I don't want to say this is work I have done. This is the work of the arXiv team. It's their improvements. I'm recently joined and I'm working forward. There's also my email if you want to check me. So it's norbert@arxiv.org, very easy to remember. And that's all, I think. Thanks a lot for the attention.
Thank you so much. All right. Are there any questions before we head off to lunch? We have time for one.
So one of the things we are doing is that the new system we are building now that will be based on cloud and Dockerized applications, we actually want it to be reusable. Because there are other archive-like systems. We just last month we had a meeting with the Japanese archive, so they have JR, it's called. They have it for Japanese. So all the articles on archive, not all, but 99% are English. But they are, for example, in Japan, they have Japanese articles which are set in Japanese. So also there we would like to offer the website and everything as a service. So they can, not as a service, as software they can put into production themselves. And that would also work, of course, for China.
It's not strongly integrated into archive.
Yeah, well, we have things that are very strongly because we have a moderation system. But for example, many parts of the setup will, in the end, be made publicly available because it is useful for others. The first thing will be the PDF API-based converter. But we will, of course, we have a version where we can write directly to buckets. So that is not something useful for others. But so we will put this out that other people, that we can help other preprint servers to set up something similar. And because it's a service, we have mass computer science, physics, and others, but there are a lot of, so there's MedGuide for medical application. There are a lot of other services, and they all would profit from the same transfer from the same support.
All right, that's it.
Solve the problem of archive PDF conversion, then the plan is to share it as a same result.
All right. Then thank you so much. See you guys after lunch. Have a good break.